Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Ash Cash Show every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, theashcashshow.com. Watch us live on YouTube by going to ashcashtv.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Periscope. We're on Twitch. So make sure you tune in. And today I got some good news for you. We're gonna tackle the news in a second. But let me just before we do that, let me just go make sure check in with my Facebook folk. We all good on there. All right, there we go. We good money. All right, perfect, perfect, perfect. So, um, yeah. So today is Wednesday, May 13th, 2020, and so I wanna tackle the top news for you, which is so first let's talk about the stocks. So let's talk about the markets as of close of business. May 12th, 2020, the Nasdaq was down 2.06%. The S&P 500 was down 2.05%. Dow Jones was down 1.89%. Gold is up. Gold is up for 0.40%. 10-year Treasury is down 4.4 bips. And oil is up 5.5%. And so, in the first news, the Supreme Court is deciding whether they want to release Trump's financial records. And so, when you look at the Supreme Court, so this has been going on for a while, where Trump is not releasing his statements, right? So he's not releasing his statements, and they're going back and forth trying to figure out whether they should release or force him to release his financial records. Some of the reasons why there this is even a thing is because there's investigations going on. There's still investigations on a sitting president, but there's investigations going on about some crimes that potentially could be solved by releasing the financial records, right? And so they're saying like he might have falsified his financial records to reduce like the amount of taxes he paid, but then also when you think about there were women that came out that said that he assaulted them, and those cases just went away, and so people are saying that potentially he paid them hush money, which is illegal, and so because of those things, that's why the Supreme Court, they're like half and half. Like, they're these cases, and they're saying, listen, he's like, I know I'm not giving my financial records, and so some people are saying, some people or some of the justices within the Supreme Court are saying, hey, listen, we have to allow us to see his records, because at the end of the day, if we don't see his records, then it becomes almost like a dictatorship. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if you had like President Nixon or President Clinton, which were the two people who or presidents that were subject to like investigations and things of that nature. Like, what would happen if they weren't allowed to be investigated? You know what I mean? But then also, on the other side, some of the justices are saying that if they do allow Trump to show his financial records, this could open up a precedent going forward for people to sue the president, and allow harassment from that perspective. So yeah, so I think that is definitely something to keep an eye on. There aren't any. They didn't rule on anything, and so just and some are saying they're not going to rule till after 2020, which I think that to have this is just a weird case to have a president who has all of these things going on and still is in office making decisions where those decisions or finding out whether he cheated on taxes and things of that nature affect his decision making and policies. Like, it's just kind of a weird thing to me. And again, you don't want to set a precedent for presidential harassment. But the truth of the matter is that he was elected by the people. But even being elected by the people, you want the person, the leader, right? And it's not even just the leader of the country. Like, think about in any space that you're in, right? If you work for a company, you would want your leader to not everybody's perfect. So I'm not saying that everybody's perfect, but you would want your leader to um, be held to the highest standard, right? Because you're leading, right? So you should be held to the highest standard. So that's just my 2 cents on that. Also, health officials, testifying to the Senate today or yesterday. And so Dr. Fauci, so it's, say top U.S. Health officials. So Dr. Fauci, testified. They testified remotely about COVID. And Dr. Fauci warned against, and we talked about this yesterday, but he warned against reopening the country too quickly, saying that if the states ignore federal guidelines, the U.S. Could see avoidable suffering and death. And I find that he's using these harsh words, right? Suffering and death. And even where I saw a report that said that if the country opens up too soon, they're projecting about 147,000 deaths by August. And Kish Ravlin says Fauci has a hand in all of this, which uh, what do you say, that the evidence is pointing to it as well. So that's why I take a lot of this stuff at face value. When you think about what's being said, I take it at face value. But I do encourage everybody to take precaution because again, we're getting these reports about how unsafe it is, how much death is going to still keep happening. So just be safe. Um, Speaking of safe, or speaking of the coronavirus, this leads me to a proposed bill, right? So the House Democrats released a proposal, and their proposal is this is the fourth one, the fourth relief package that they're looking to put out, and the bill will introduce $875 billion for state and local government, 175 billion for testing and healthcare, and $75 billion for housing assistance. And this adds up to $3 trillion in total, which is the largest stimulus package ever proposed. So if it's passed, it'll be the largest stimulus package ever proposed. And so what does that mean, right? Like, I don't want to just give you these numbers and not allow you to understand when you think about what COVID-19 is doing to your wallet, what COVID-19 is doing to your money. I want to sort of explain what that means. And here's a couple of things that it means, right? So number one, it could cost less money it could cost less to borrow money. And so it's definitely, COVID-19 has definitely hurt a lot of profits. And we know that we're in a recession. And this is just what it is. But what's happening is that the Fed is continuing to lower interest rates. In fact, it's funny because um, President Trump recently was toying with the idea of doing negative interest, right? And what does negative interest means, right? Negative interest, and this is like something that I have never seen in my lifetime. I mean, I've heard of it. I've seen other countries do it. But what that means is, there's negative interest, which would mean that if you have cash on hand, right, talking about banks and Federal Reserves and things of that nature, if you have cash on hand, literally it'll cost you, like, you have to pay to keep cash in the bank to keep cash in reserves, right? And so negative interest is like this way. So we've always heard inflation, but we've never heard of deflation, right? And inflation is when there's a lot of money circulating or whatever the case may be, holding on to cash, and they're getting incentivized to do that. They're saying that if we go negative interest, that now it's gonna cost banks money to just keep they gotta have to pay to keep cash and reserves. So now they have to give away money, almost. They have to start lending, and they're thinking if it's cheap to get money, and rates are low or whatever the case may be, then people are going to borrow more. People borrow more, then they're going to stimulate the economy. And so that's one thing that's being floated around, and so that's one thing that COVID is doing. It might cost less to borrow money. You might be able to get a break on your current debt, right? So lenders are getting more flexible to help to release some financial pressures, and so that's sort of like a good thing as it relates to your pockets. That you might get a break on your current debt because they know. I know that the numbers are showing that we're almost at 60 million jobs being lost, and so that's a possibility. That's how COVID-19 is potentially impacting your pocket. I just talked about this stimulus package, so you might get more money from the government than usual because even in this new round of stimulus package, they're proposing another 1,500 for individuals, but then up to 6,000 for families. So if you have kids, they're proposing to get more money, and so you may be able to see more stimulus money being passed around, and so that's definitely something that could work in your favor. I would caution, or not caution, but I would just say, just as normal, that as money is being floated around to you, I know that the goal is to create a system, or create a way for people to start stimulating the economy by spending again, and I think spending is necessary. But as you're thinking about spending, as you're thinking about these stimulus packages, use it as an opportunity to really just take a assessment of where your finances are, and really how to get on a good foot. Like, do not act in panic mode, because there is a wealth transfer happening right now, and within that storm, within that wealth transfer, you could literally be in a space where you're managing your finances, building a better foundation going forward. Um, I saw this. This was interesting. I saw that Twitter will let almost all of its employees work from home permanently. That was great news because they're noticing, right? So if you're Twitter, and you are a digital company, there's a lot of technology, a lot of things that can be done remotely where you don't necessarily have to see your employees. Like, you can have them work from home, and in fact, a lot of companies are seeing 3 hours, right? Like 3 hours more productivity time by people staying home opposed to having to come into the office. And so I think it's good. I've been working from home. We're in 2020, so I've been working from home for about 4 years now. Yeah, I want to say about 4 years. So since about like 2016, I've been working from home, not reporting to an office. And I want to say, like, I get a lot done. Like, I was able to get a lot done while working from home by just being in a space where I kind of like literally wake up, and don't have to travel and get so much done. And granted, the travel for me, as an entrepreneur, happens when I'm setting up meetings and things of that nature. But imagine having a 9 to 5 and having a job, but never having to go to an office. Maybe once in a while for meetings or whatever, but like literally just waking up. And I think that gives a balance, like a work life balance. Like, we've been talking about work life balance for a while, where people are like working so hard and not seeing their family and things of that nature. COVID-19 is almost forcing that to be a norm, which I'm not mad at, because I think that for me, that was the joy of being an entrepreneur and working from home was the fact that when my kids were in school, I was able to like drop my kids, get my kids ready for school, or my son, my daughter gets herself ready, but providing, still getting stuff done. So, I think it's dope that Twitter is allowing its employees to work from home, almost permanently. I also think that this is a signal to other companies, that this could be a trend. But when you think about the trend, though, right? Like you think about it being a trend, the only caveat to it being a trend is that it's going to have implications on real estate, right? So you think about from a real estate perspective, most of these big companies have invested, a lot of money into their real estate to make their places of business functional for employees. And so now that if this becomes the norm, then commercial real estate is really going to take a dive, and then we're going to figure out like what's going to happen to all of these big office buildings that were built, to accommodate businesses. And in fact, when you think about most businesses are doing long-term leases, right? So most businesses are doing 10-year long-term leases. But who's going to, what business would do a long-term lease? Like if I had 100 employees, I'm not doing a long-term lease. Like I'm not signing on for 10 years, especially if you don't know what's going on. And so, keep an eye out on commercial real estate, because commercial real estate is definitely going to take a hit if this becomes a norm. So if companies are now going to start allowing people to work from home, then commercial real estate is going to take a hit. I want to go to cryptocurrency news. My guy Kish Ravlin will be proud of this. I'm gonna go to cryptocurrency news, and this is funny because I saw something in the news that talked about how J.P. Morgan Chase sees the future in cryptocurrency, right? And so this is sort of irony in a way, because at one point, Jamie Dimon, right, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, had called Bitcoin a fraud and was saying that Bitcoin was a fraud. But now, right, JP Morgan Chase has added its first cryptocurrency exchange customers, right? And so now CoinDesk, CoinDesk has confirmed that. So now Coinbase and Gemini, which are cryptocurrency exchanges, have now been added by J.P. Morgan Chase as as an exchange, which is big, right? Which is huge news, because at the end of the day, like this is signaling that, as a lot of people were saying, like I've been saying, that blockchain and cryptocurrency isn't going anywhere. I think the fact of the matter is that the banks were really waiting for this to be regulated. And I think that because Coinbase and Gemini are regulated exchanges, that's why JP Morgan was willing to jump into bed. And I think that it's just one of those situations where you just watch where the money goes. That's all I'm gonna say. Watch where the money goes. Watch what the big people are doing, because that's gonna signal either where the world is going or where they want the world to go. I don't think blockchain is going anywhere. I don't think cryptocurrency is going anywhere. And so I definitely think that this is big news. And also, I also want you to realize how you also just can't trust what what people at the top are saying, right? Because the same guy, right, when Bitcoin was at its peak, it was doing well, people were making a lot of money from it. This is the guy that everybody trusts that said, "Yo, Bitcoin's a fraud." And so now, when he said Bitcoin is a fraud, everybody started dumping it. Everybody started, getting rid of it, which tanked the price down. And then now he's back in that business. So just understand how the markets work. A lot of times the markets aren't about what's really going on. Sometimes the markets is about somebody's opinion, who's trusted, and if somebody who has a big voice says something, they could potentially get to a space where they're literally like tanking the the stock market or whatever the case may be. All right. Another news on cryptocurrency, and this is for anybody out there who is trading cryptocurrency, who's making money in cryptocurrency. The IRS wants to keep an eye on your crypto taxes, right? So the Internal Revenue Services, they're seeking third-party contractors to help it assess whether certain U.S. taxpayers have properly paid taxes on their crypto holdings, right? So according to an email that was posted by CryptoTrader.tax, and it was verified by CoinDesk. It says that IRS Assistant Deputy Commissioner John Cardone said that the agency is looking for contractors to assist their revenue agents in calculating tax payer gains or losses as a result of their transaction involving virtual currency. At least one other company in the space, which asked not to be named, also received the email. So that is something that you have to look out for, because unlike, and so this is something that I want y'all to know, right? If you're trading cryptocurrency, this is what I want you to know. Unlike stocks, where you don't have to pay taxes on the gains until you realize the gain. So let me explain what that means, right? So you have something called capital gains. So let's say I buy Nike today at $5, right? And at the end of the year, Nike goes up to $10, which means that my stock has double in price, right? Well, I don't have to pay taxes on that doubling in price until for that year, because I still own the stock. I did not sell the stock, right? If I sold it in 2020 and realized the gain, right? So anytime you earn money on stocks, it's called capital gains. If you lose money on stocks, it's a capital loss, right? Capital meaning money, right? Meaning value, meaning your equity in the business. And so with stocks, you don't have to pay taxes on it unless it's a capital gain, right? Unless you realize the capital gain. And so, like in that scenario, I put in $5. In Nike, Nike grew to $10 in that same year, and even in that same year, because I still own the stock, I don't have to pay capital gains. The only time I pay capital gains is when I sell it, right? But the difference in cryptocurrency is that with cryptocurrency, that's not the case. In cryptocurrency, each year you pay taxes on whatever the gain or the loss is, right? So let's say I bought Bitcoin at 3,000 this year, and then Bitcoin goes up to 9,000. Then that year for 2020, I have to pay taxes on that capital gain. Then the following year, let's say that 9,000 goes down to 3,000, then I have to pay. I have to get a deduction, because of that capital loss, right? And so what I'm saying is that in cryptocurrency, it's a different way you have to file your taxes. So that's why you have to make sure that if you are trading cryptocurrency, please, please, please hire an accountant, hire a CPA to do your taxes, because they should know, if the right CPA should know, how cryptocurrency is going to be taxed, and then they'll be able to report it the right way. Because, like I said, the IRS, they want to keep an eye on your crypto taxes. It's almost like a setup. They know that they're going to be a lot of people out there who don't really understand how to file taxes on their cryptocurrency, and they want to catch whoever's out there not doing the right thing. And so they're definitely out here looking for third party contractors in order to assess those who are U.S. taxpayers. So that's on that. In other news, I found this very, very interesting, and I like it a lot. Swizz Beatz, right? Swizz Beatz not only wants to give a minimum of $1 million to artists like Melly Mel, the Sugar Hill Gang, but he believes that rappers should be paying taxes to them as well, right? And so I love this idea, right? So I love this idea because hip hop is a $1 billion business right now. And the truth of the matter is that the only reason that hip hop is a $1 billion business is because of the forefathers. It's because of the Melly Mels, the Sugar Hill Gangs, the people who literally paved the way so that rappers could be making millions, and as an industry, billions of dollars. And so he was on a live with Joe Button, like the Melly Mel's and the Sugar Hill Gang, like reparations, of $1 million, but then also feels like there should be taxes paid to these rappers. I agree. I do think that I've always thought that hip hop as a genre should have its own bank, or like some type of credit union, should have insurance, should have all these things. Yo, Swiss, holla at me, man. Let's talk, man. Yo, I would love to start a hip hop run credit union, and start giving like rappers, like have a union almost, right? Like rappers should be, paying taxes, and putting money towards, what do you call it? Healthcare, and financial education and 401ks and all that stuff. And I think that if organized the right way, that could definitely be a, something that happens. So yo, Swiss, I'm your guy, yo. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about that. But I found it dope. I definitely think it was dope that he, proposed that. I agree 100%, that a lot of the rappers right now who are making millions of dollars, they wouldn't be where they are had it not been for the forefathers who put in work. And so to see, some of these forefathers not being in a position to take care of their families, some of them, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember hearing stories, and I won't name names out of respect, but I remember hearing stories of, forefathers working at retail spots, you know what I'm saying? Like, and people recognize them in embarrassment, you know what I mean? People were taking pictures and things of that nature. Like, there's been rappers who have passed away because they didn't have health insurance. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and they put in so much work for the culture, and they build this culture, but the culture doesn't give back to them. You know what I'm saying? And this is all fair, right? Because at the end of the day, there's so many other cultures that create funds, that help people start businesses, that stick together, that create these things, that they don't let none of their own fall. And I think that we need to start adopting that. So salute to Swiss. Definitely something that I think needs to happen. In other hip hop news, I don't want to get this guy too much shine, because we talked about him yesterday. But Takashi 6ix9ine was bragging about donating 200,000 to the foundation called No Kid Hungry, the No Kid Hungry Foundation. And I think that yesterday the reason why he came up was because I felt like there's no rules, or um, there's no laws or code of ethic as it relates to how people operate and things of that nature. And the fact that his video did 93 million views, even if it was a sheer curiosity, if people were watching it to be curious, still curiosity put money in his pocket. And I think that when you are, not conducting yourself in the right business way, that for people to support you, when you're not doing right by the people who supported you, or whatever the case may be. I talked about it yesterday, so I don't want to get back into it. But I did find it interesting that the No Kid Hungry Foundation did reject the $200,000 donation. They did say that the reason why they rejected the donation was because when they look at the people that they take donations from, they want the people that they take money from, they want them to align with their values. That was all I was saying. That if you are going to support somebody, just make sure that they align with your values. And so I wanted to bring that up. I got a few more news articles. Then I'll open it up for questions for Ask Cash. But the next one is Uber. Uber wants to buy Grubhub. And I kind of seen that coming in a way where a lot of you think about all of these different food delivery spots. Their shares are jumping. In fact, I think Grubhub shares shot up 29%. But what's happening is that a consolidation might make sense. A company like Uber, who is losing money on the Uber side, right? They are they are um, losing money on the right, because nobody's really traveling as much. But then on the other side, you have Uber Eats that's doing well. So I think consolidate. I talked earlier about Twitter. right? Allowing its employees to work from home permanently. If that becomes the trend, I'm sure people are not going to want to eat at their homes all the time. They're going to start to focus on takeout more. So these companies are going to it's going to be a necessity for that. All right, that's all I got for today in today's news. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in to today's news. And so now I want to open it up for any questions that you guys may have, so I could be able to answer your questions. This is the Ask Ash Cash segment of the show. If you have any questions, you can email me info@mindrightmoney.com, or you could put your question. So if you're watching live on Facebook, then you could put your question in the comment section. If you are watching live on Instagram, then you could also put your questions in the comment box. So salute to everybody on the check-in. On Facebook, we got my guy Kish Ravlin. We got Michelle Major on the check-in. My guy Evan. What's up, Evan? What's good with you, bro? We got Evan on the check-in. We got Cassandra on the check-in. We got Ashley Hannah Williams on the check-in. We got T. Roy. What up, T. Roy Parker? What up, my G? My guy C4 in the building. We got Tasha Joseph watching. We got Jodis Stewart. We got Kiana in the building. We got Connie McMillan in the building. We got Darrell. We got Guy in the building. Good morning, my G. We got Eddie F. Farrell in the building. PK. We got PK Dixon in the building. We got my guy Rock. Salute to my guy Rock in the building. My guy Junie. We got Karen Jones in the building. Damon Rose in the building. PK says there should be financial education included as well. I agree 1,000%. There should be financial education. Then I got my IG folks. I got Felicia in the building. We got there's a lot of y'all, so I can't scroll through everybody and give everybody a shout out, but I appreciate y'all for checking in. Let me see. So they want a rapper union. Yes. So it's Dacia in talking about the Swizz Beatz comment was saying, so they want a rapper union. Yes, and I think it's overdue. I think it's time. Yo, somebody need to connect me with Swizz, man. I'm gonna do my due diligence, but I need to start having that conversation because I want in. I think a lot of the stuff that he's doing is dope. Keith Murray says, I think it'll be a great idea of for Hove to start a wealth management division around not Rock Nation. I think that's coming, honestly. I do think that's coming, Keith, because I remember early on as he started doing the sports management thing, part of the deal was to also do start doing like financial education towards these athletes and things of that nature. So I wouldn't be surprised if Rock Nation started a wealth management division. If they needed somebody to help run that as well, that I think that would be dope. There's definitely a lot of qualified people who both know the money game and know the hip hop game. That would be a perfect fit. That'd be a perfect fit to help run that wealth management division around not Rock Nation. But in all seriousness, I do think it's coming. I do think it's coming. Each artist should have a stock where the public can invest in them. I think that's a great idea. I actually got my guy. I don't want to give up too much information. But I got my guy Joel, who's working on an app that would allow artists to allow people to invest in artists from an equity perspective. So once that's I'll spill the beans once his app is out. But he is working on that. But that's a great idea. I do think that it would be dope if artists were like publicly traded entities that people could like their fans could gain equity and invest in. I think that's a great idea. Is Dacia says wait. Wait, hold on. Is Dacia says wait. They refuse money to feed children. That's a double-edged sword, though. You know what I'm saying? Because we were talking about 6ix9ine, how he donated money to this foundation that feeds children, and he donated $200,000, and they denied it. it's like blood money almost, right? It's like if you have this, I mean, it's up to you. I'm not telling people what to do, but if you have these, if you have a set of morals and guidelines and stuff, and you know that the money that's coming in doesn't align with what you're doing, you have to make a decision. Some people accept it though. I'm not saying not, right? Like it's like this, right? It's like saying, um, somebody who is against gun violence accepting money from Smith and Weston to push their cause. I mean, some people do it, right? Because I remember, Philip Morris, the cigarette company donating to cancer research. You know what I'm saying? The meat industry donates to diabetes. You know what I'm saying? Like how can you be the cause of it? And still do, it's like back in the day where like drug dealers were pumping the streets with heroin, right? They were pumping the streets with heroin, and then they would give away turkeys, and people would be like, "Oh my God, they're the gods," you know what I mean? Like, "Oh my God, these are the gods." No, they're killing your community. They're making millions of dollars from killing people in your community, and they're giving out turkeys and bus trips, and you excited about that. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like how can the cause of the thing donate money to the thing and it'd be okay? And I'm not saying like $6 causing hunger, but it's along those lines. And I just think that, I mean, for me, um, as a business person, I'm very careful about who I align myself with. That's all. I'm very careful with that. Like, I've had opportunities to align myself with certain brands that wanted access to my community, but if I didn't feel like they were doing the right thing for my community, I didn't want to partner with them. Simple. I could have easily took the bag. I promise you, right? Because people see my numbers, right? People see my numbers. People see my engagement, and so I've had, like lending companies like who are borderline like payday lenders that I don't agree with have come to me and say, "Hey, I had prepaid debit cards come to me, saying, "Hey, can you promote this to your audience?" And I could have took the money, but at the end of the day, I gotta do what's right for my people, and I gotta understand why am I really in it is what I guess what the goal is. Am I waking up 4 in the morning to scour through news and write articles and teach my community about financial freedom, generational wealth, all that stuff? Am I waking up that early doing all that because I'm trying to make money, or do I really care about my community? You know what I'm saying? And so if it's the latter, right? If it's really caring, obviously, I got kids to feed, I got to take care of myself, so that's why I write books. Right, that's why I write books so people could buy books. That's why I have online courses and people could go and create subscriptions and do. You know what I'm saying? That's why I do that, because it's the balancing out of doing good but then getting paid, right? It's called social entrepreneurship. But at the same time, as you're doing social entrepreneurship, you can't just accept any dollar that comes to you, if your mission is tried and true. So that's I'm gonna get off my soapbox, but that's how I feel. That's why I'm okay with them, not taking the money. um Success J says a lot of jobs have went to India and more will go. Your thoughts? um it's a tough one, right? That's a tough one, because when you think about jobs are going to India, there's a lot of jobs going to the Philippines, and I think that, and I'm gonna give, I'm gonna keep it 100% with you, right? I even explored looking at hiring virtual assistants in Philippines, right? Because when I look at my business structure, as a growing business, I want to hire more people, and in order for me to hire more people, I need to make more money. And so if at the early stages, I'll tell you my business structure, right? So right now, obviously, not obviously, but I make enough money to take care of like my family and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I bring people and getting the right people on the bus and things of that nature. And so what happens is, for me to, like, for instance, right, I have somebody that I pay. I won't say how much I pay him, but I pay somebody to help me out with this show, right? And I could easily pay somebody less in the Philippines or India to do the same job, but because I like the intimacy of being able to, speak to them all the time, text them, and all that stuff, that's why I'm like, all right, I'll pay that premium. But there's other stuff within my business that I don't really need intimacy. Like, I don't need, maybe that's the wrong word, but I don't need to be like talking to them all the time. I give you a task, you do the task and get it over with. And so if those type of positions, if I am using people in the States, that racks up my expenses, and then now I may not be able to afford to expand my business how I want to expand it. So in my case, I'm okay with going, and I haven't yet. I'm just saying, I'm just being transparent that I've thought about it. I have explored, using a VA, a virtual assistant in another country, because the prices, you can't really beat the price. I could get 40 hours of work, right? I could get somebody to work for me 40 hours, and I could pay them $100 a week, right? And it's not that I'm getting over on them, because their cost of living is lower over there. And so my $100 a week translates to $5,000 a week for them, right? Like, if you do the exchange, and so they could live off of $100 a week, working for me 40 hours. Who am I hiring in this country for $100 for 40 hours? It's not happening, right? And so there are some tasks, like mundane stuff. Like, I'm talking about research stuff. There's mundane tasks that I would rather pay somebody overseas to do, and then save money, and still, because the stuff that they could do at 40 hours, actually at $100, could probably make me $1,000. Right? If they do the right research and all that stuff, that could make me more money. And now I have $1,000 more a week that I could hire people here in the country. So I say that to say that I do think that jobs are going, but I don't think that they're the jobs that require a lot of skill. And so I think that this is a time for us here in the United States to step our skill set up, right? Like no, like, I can't be outsourced. Ash Cash cannot be outsourced. You can't find somebody in India or the Philippines to do what I do, because it's all up here. It's a mindset. It's a skill set. I bring value to the marketplace, and so I just think that everybody should be working on their skill set, so that they're not replaceable. You know what I'm saying? You must not know about me. You must not know about me. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, no, you can't get another me. You know what I'm saying? The song just came to my head. I'm sorry. Sometimes I black out like that. So yeah, but no, you know what I'm saying? You can't get another me. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that everybody knowing that a lot of, think about, it's not just outsourcing to India and the Philippines either, right? It's also AI, artificial intelligence. It's also robots. It's also Whole Foods with their cashless, their cashless registers, right? And so that's not the threat is not just people. The threat is also artificial intelligence. The threat is also robots, right? And so at the end of the day, it's important that you step your skills up. People have been saying this for years, but now it's getting closer and closer to reality. You know what I'm saying? People have been saying this for years, but it's getting closer to reality. So you got to step your game up. Step your skill game up. So that's my thoughts. Um K22, right? K22 says, my son is 20. He is sitting at home collecting $600 a week in unemployment. What do you recommend he do with his money? Invest in a business. Invest in himself. He's 20 years old, getting $600 a week. Yo, he need to be starting a business, because that $600 a week is gonna run out. And so as his $600 a week runs out, he wants to be able to make sure that he's investing in himself. So he creates a skill. When that $600 a week runs out, he should be able to have a skill that he could double that, make $1,200 a week, make $2,000 a week. And so I would say, there's a lot of online places that are offering certificates or courses and coding and all that, so he can learn a new skill. I would definitely say that. I would definitely start a business. That's without a doubt. I would start a business. Reason why he's getting that 600 a week means that he was working for somebody at some point. So he has some type of skill, but learn something new, learn something that he loves to do, start a business so that after that 600 runs out, he doesn't have to go look for another job. He could actually stay home still and run his business. So that's what I would say. Um, my guy Jason Clare, there's going to be come a point where you won't be able to read all the names in less than a few hours. Um, I appreciate that. You know what I mean? And I received that. Yes, at some point, you know what I'm saying. At some point, we're gonna be rocking so much. So make sure go to ashcashtv.com. Subscribe to me on YouTube. So you could get your daily news. And then yes, the goal, you know what I'm saying? Like the goal of the Ashcash show, we gonna rank this up. You know what I mean? Like at some point, we're gonna have hundreds of thousands of people on the check-in. We're gonna have millions of people on the check-in. We're gonna have hundreds of thousands, mind right moguls in the building. You know what I'm saying? So Christopher Ford, salute. You know what I'm saying? That's the gang now, right? The gang that we calling our tribe. Everybody that checks in every day is a mind right mogul, right? Because we implement in mindset shifts one person at a time, and we gonna change the world. We gonna because you change the world by changing your mindset, and that's the goal. We gonna mind right, life right, mind right, grind right, mind right, money right, mind right, health right. You know what I'm saying? Mind right moguls. We all in the building. Salute to y'all. You know what I mean? Salute to my mind right moguls. You know what I'm saying? So PK Dixon says, "Do you like the Robinhood investing app? If not, what is the way you suggest beginning to purchase individual stocks?" So that's a great question because yesterday I did a live with my guy Kish Ravlin, who is my go-to guy for cryptocurrency and things investing, and so it came up right that Robinhood does not offer individual stocks. They offer what's called contracts of differences, which is a contract between investment bankers and the bank or the person or the cryptocurrency provider, and they give you dividends through that. I want to look into that some more because I was doing some research, and I was looking at whether they're offering real stock or contracts or whatever the case may be. But what I would say, PK, is that I think at one point Robinhood was a good place to go, because Robinhood was offering commission free um, investment, right? Like you could buy your stock commission free, but the truth of the matter is that Charles Schwab offers commission free. TD Ameritrade offers commission free. Like there's other discount brokers that are offering commission free, and some of them have better customer service. Some of them have more intel on research and things of that nature. And so I don't necessarily think that Robinhood is my top pick anymore. It used to be, because from a purely economical standpoint, I just thought it was dope that Robinhood allowed you to buy stock and you didn't have to pay for it. But I think that now, Cash App, I buy stock on Cash App now. Like I tested it, and so I bought Walmart, I bought Amazon, I bought Alibaba, all on Cash App. So Cash App is a place to look. But you got the traditionals. I also have an account with TD Ameritrade, for full disclosure. So TD Ameritrade is good. Charles Schwab. So I don't know if uh, Robinhood is my first choice anymore. It used to be, but I don't think it's my first choice anymore. Appreciate that question. Um, Coco Vanille, what up, Coco? I see you in the building. We got would love to incorporate a building wealth session in my next book. Would love to interview you and incorporate your ideas. That's dear Ghetto Mind. Dear Ghetto Mind, email me info@mindrightmoney.com. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it. Let's get it. We got Sandra Savage in the building. More wine for you. I see you. The way banks will function and operate amid this pandemic. So Dej 83. I think you're saying that, are they gonna still operate the same way? I think no. I think that banks are going to have to change the way they operate. I mean, especially like I said, you got interest rates are all-time low. You got the president suggesting that the Fed do a negative interest so that banks could owe money if they hold on to cash. So I think that banks are going to be forced to operate in a different manner. They're going to have to figure some things out. And so I think amid this pandemic, the economy is going to be different. The economy is going to be different than we've ever seen before. And we got to be ready for that. I don't know what that's gonna look like because things are changing every day, but I do think that things are gonna be different. Um, let's see. All right, so I got some questions that I'm gonna pop up. So all right, so we got on IG, we got Mr. Mark Bonnet. Says, how do you feel about e-commerce as a business to start during the pandemic? That is the business you should start. Period. 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 That's the business you should start. I think that's number one on my list. Number one on my list. If you want to start anything during this pandemic, you should start an e-commerce business. Period. Not a comma, not a but, not a if. Period. E-commerce is the business you should start if you want to start a business during this pandemic. Period. Because at the end of the day, starting an e-commerce is low overhead, not a lot of money. Actually, you can start e-commerce with no money, and so that's number one. Number two, you could go direct to the consumer, and so you don't have to do a lot of advertising or whatever. I mean, you do have to do advertising, but you can reach people directly. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can reach them. Number three, if you do take out advertising, you know exactly who you're reaching. And so it's a no-brainer. Any other business you start is probably going to take time and money. With e-commerce, you don't necessarily need time or money. You can start an e-commerce business today, right? Like you're hearing my voice right now, you could start an e-commerce business today. I'm talking about today. By noon, you could be up and running. It's 8:55. By noon, you could be up and running. So yes, I think yes. All right, we got AUE locks with deflation on the horizon, with negative interest rate, etc. Is getting into real estate wise right now. And then also, let me see. Also taking loans to invest in real estate. Yes. So here's the deal. I do think that getting into real estate is wise right now, especially with deflation, right? Especially because money is gonna be cheap, and so if money is gonna be cheap, that means you could borrow money for nothing to get assets that might cost something. Is deflation a long-term solution? No. They're just doing that to stimulate the economy. So if money is going to be cheap in the short term, but it has to go. You can't do deflation for long, so it has to go back up eventually. And so yes, I think if taking money to invest in real estate, because in the long term, real estate is going to go up. I think taking money to do that is a smart thing. My only caveat to that is that if you're going into real estate now and you find a good deal, that's good. I personally am looking at property that I would at least wait 6 months. You know what I'm saying? Like I would at least wait to like November just to kind of see how things kind of pan out, because I do think that real estate might lose value in the short term, and then you could make some money in the short term. So I appreciate that question. Appreciate you as always. Success J says a lot of jobs went to India. More will. Oh, okay. We answered that already, so I appreciate that. Kalila John says, should I day trade with my stimulus money? Do you still need a LinkedIn connection for going live? All right, so there's two questions. So yes, I still need a LinkedIn connection. I want to go live on LinkedIn as well, so I appreciate you. The first question though is, should I day trade with my stimulus money? If you understand day trading, I know people that make thousands of dollars doing day trading, but that's all they do though. They don't do nothing else, right? Like they're committed to day trading. They understand day trading. They've done their research in day trading. They do all that stuff. And so I think that day trading is a viable business, but you have to know what you're doing. So yes, if you know what you're doing. Um, all right. Can you write an ebook on starting an ebook, e-commerce business? Sean is marketing. Yes, I will do that. It's funny because I had this request yesterday. I just got a lot of I just got a lot of things on my plate that I have to kind of finish that I can't necessarily put over writing the ebook, but I will though. I will. I promise y'all. I will write an ebook on how to start an e-commerce business. I will do that. Um, I don't want to commit. I don't like to say, yo, I'll do it this week and then y'all don't get it. But I think this weekend, maybe Saturday, I might have some time to do it. So maybe I'll have it by Monday. But if not by Monday, I'll weave it into my schedule next week. All right, I got a minute and 50 seconds, 57 seconds left. So I appreciate y'all. Let me see what else, who else. Let me see if I can run through these comments real quick in a minute and 48 seconds. Stash and acorns are not the best way to save or set up a retirement fund. If you want quality beef, you want to go to McDonald's. You would do nice steakhouse. That's my guy Kish Raveling saying that you need a clone, brother. I do. I need a clone, but it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm definitely at the space where I'm looking to expand. This is a financial education outlet for the culture, the first of its kind, and I'm looking to expand on it. So stay tuned. I appreciate you, Dreams to Real Life. My guy Eddie says, "Morning, King. Wish you good health and stay blessed." Now I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Now I'm in this for the long haul. I definitely believe that this is my calling, and I'm gonna make it happen in any which way. I bet. 52 seconds until they sign me off. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to Ash Cash Show every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. Go to ashcashtv.com so you can subscribe to me on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, the ashcashshow.com. Go to mindrightmoney.com for news. Go to shop.mindrightmoney so you could buy some planners, some e-guides, some books. My Cash app, I am Ash Cash. If you want to donate to the fund and join the movement, man. The Mind Right Moguls, we are in the building. We're gonna take over for the 99 and for the 2020 and beyond. Mind Right Moguls. I am Ash Cash signing out. Peace.